If you're a craft beer fan like me, you'll know the right glassware only enhances the drinking experience. At Harpoon Shop, you'll find the finest glassware designed specifically for people who savor great beer. Even better, you can find shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made for premium comfort and style. Looking for the perfect gift? The Harpoon Shop is a great destination. It has lots of products you won't find anywhere else. Visit shop.harpoonbrewery.com and use promo code Cinemavino to receive 25% off your entire purchase. That's the best deal you can find anywhere. Once again, that's shop.harpoonbrewery.com, promo code Cinemavino. And welcome back to Cinemavino. It's good to have you guys back here with us.
Let's try it again.
And welcome back to Cinemavino. It's good to have you guys here with us. We got Travis Budd.
Oh, hey.
Sean Jordan.
Hi.
Taylor Owens.
Yo.
My name's Todd. And we're ending our trilogy series with the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, the Dark Knight trilogy. So this is one that we've always wanted to do and never gotten around to it. So here we are. For this one, it's like where we are in the world, it's like 95 degrees today. So I just thought a beer sounded good. So I got a beer for this one and the next episode that we've never tried before. This is the Boulevard Tank 7. This is one of their new Saison. It's like a juicy Saison.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a tropical
Saison. Yeah.
Kind of a yellow can.
Very citrusy, very
tropical.
Yeah.
Very island fruity.
Yeah. It drinks easy, I think, for something that's 8.5 alcohol.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I think that's what I was looking for.
By the time you get to number 2,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be easy to drink.
We
call it a Tank 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Double Dog Challenge back in the day when there was the Double Dog IPA from, who did that?
Flying Dog.
Flying Dog, yeah. And it was like the 9 point something alcohol. And it's like the challenge is if you can drink 4 of them and still survive.
Then
How much was it? Avery had the Beast. Right?
Yeah.
Who had the Double Dales? I mean, I know it's Dales, but what?
Oscar Blues.
Oscar Blues?
Yeah.
What is that like? 9?
I can't remember.
I think it's 10.
It might be 10. Yeah.
Ooh, Double Dales is hefty.
It's a behemoth. But yeah, this is a good beer for 8.5.
It's easy.
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't taste that heat and alcohol sometimes that you can get.
Nice by the pool.
Yeah. So this would be dangerous by the pool.
You're going to need a lifeguard.
Yeah. It's going to be real dangerous by the pool.
So that's why I got a Kolsch that's a little bit easier to drink, so a little bit lighter body. I thought just kind of downshift a little bit. So even though this is my wheelhouse, I like big, hoppy, burly, high alcohol beers. That's my thing.
Is it true that they call you Big Hoppy?
Yeah.
Big hoppy.
That's what they used to call me in prison. So I ruled.
Hey, look out, it's Big Hoppy.
Big hoppy. Is that racist?
So Batman Begins.
Who was that in the prison?
That's Big Hoppy.
You sound like a Batman villain.
That was my Ray Romano.
Ma, Big Hoppy.
Oh yeah. So this was released June 15th, 2005. So 20 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah. Same around the same time as Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. First Jim Story one. There you go. This grossed just under $375 million against a $150 million budget.
Just a shade under Batman 89.
Yep. There you go. It's the second highest grossing film in the Batman franchise up to that point, with the exception of the 89 Batman.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. It's the one fact I read.
Was it just like a shade under 89?
I don't know.
No, the 89.
I don't know. Next question.
The 89 Batman, I believe, grossed over 400 million, so it was quite a bit more.
Damn.
But yeah, and then you throw in inflation, it was even more on top of that. So
inflation's not real.
it was a little, yeah, it's true. It was a legitimate phenomenon. So
Well, I remember there just wasn't as much hype around this film coming out, especially for me too. I was
we've had like a million Batman.
I had seen 4 Batman films in theaters, and I had never seen a Fantastic Four film. So I was like, all right, let's get through Batman, and then I'm ready for Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And I was disappointed.
yeah. I remember our mutual friend Kyle was the one who told me about, you got to see this movie, because I was like, I'm not in a hurry to see it. I've been burned by so many Batman movies up until this point.
Absolutely the same.
So,
yep.
Nah.
Wait, what brand of credit card did you think this Batman would have?
I think my best hope was that it would at least have an expiration date on the card and not say forever. So,
Well,
There
then you
go.
should have read the title of the movie.
Yeah.
and there you go. Yeah.
Batman's credit begin.
Yeah, he's going to start with a silver card and work his way up to black.
Yeah.
So yeah, after the critical and commercial disaster of Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, which is one of the biggest flops in major studio history, the rumored budget on that one was, and I know we've never potted over that one. I think we need to at some point.
Well, they
I
dressed like a
watched-
fucking pink gorilla in that. He dressed Uma Thurman as a pink gorilla.
Yeah, and that wasn't even the worst scene in the movie.
No.
Which, to be fair, did something for me. I mean, that was fun.
That was actually the best part of the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You discovered a new kink.
Yeah.
So yeah, that had like a budget like $200+ million. Is rumored to be one of the most expensive movies ever made when it came out, and was it just a disaster? Both
Yeah, Schumacher.
Up till then, making a Batman movie is like printing money.
Yeah.
And that, so Warner Brothers scrapped the plans that they had already greenlit a film called Batman Triumphant, which would have returned Schumacher to direct that film, which was supposed to be released in 99, had it gone through, and featured Nick Cage as the Scarecrow. So there is that.
Mm.
It would have returned George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, and Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. So there's that. So instead, the studio decided to completely reboot the franchise, and they got Christopher Nolan, who was fresh from Memento and the remake of Insomnia. So, and he decided with David S. Goyer to completely redo the franchise from the ground up, going heavily off of Frank Miller's Batman Year One. Amongst other things, they also were inspired by Richard Donner's Superman, which showed you the full arc of the character from the beginning, from his childhood all the way up to becoming the superhero and kind of facing his first big test.
Mhm.
So, and I know you can probably fill us in on some other stuff they're inspired by beyond that, because I'm sure there's some other comics. But yeah, for those who haven't seen it, and you need to see it because it's a great film. I was even more impressed watching it this time than I was in the past. You meet young Bruce Wayne before his parents were killed. I don't know if that's ever been depicted in the Batman movie, of showing him before his parents get killed. That's always seems to be the jumping off point in Bruce's story in all the Batman films, is the murder of his parents.
Yeah.
So you actually see him before that, playing at his house, and you meet his parents. I don't remember ever meeting actually his parents, as actual characters.
Yeah, you
Other-
just see him as like tall people getting killed.
Yeah, as extras who fall down in a scene. You actually get to meet Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. You get to see them as people, so which is kind of cool.
Well, and they show Joe Chill,
Mhm.
like the killer of his parents. And a lot of the origins I know of is that the killer was never identified and he never knew. So every time he's going out, he's like, maybe I'll, catch the killer of my parents today. But I think they've solidified that in the recent decades
In
to
canon.
solidify Joe Chill.
Yeah. And so the film jumps around in time. It shows Bruce growing up and learning to channel his anger and his grief into what will eventually become the Batman persona. And along that way, he gets mentored by Liam Neeson's character, the mysterious Ra's al Ghul. He returns to Gotham.
You mean Ken Watanabe?
Did that too.
Yeah.
You mean Ra's al Ghul?
Is that how you say it? I've heard both ways.
It's Al Ghul.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard both ways. It's like
Both.
wainscoting. It's like it's a huge mystery.
And it means
Like
demon
Bruce
head.
Wayne Scott?
Touche. And so, yeah, he gets back to Gotham. He wants to help, protect the innocent and, defeat evil, blah, blah, blah. The film depicts a somewhat realistic attempt by Bruce Wayne to build the Batman persona, the suit, the cave. I mean, it feels more grounded in reality a little bit. And so, yeah, you meet Alfred, who's Michael Caine, his de facto father figure. And then Morgan Freeman, who is his armor / Q character, who gives him his
Lucius Fox.
toys. Yeah. And so, yeah. And then he also reconnects with Rachel Dawes, who's played in this film by Katie Holmes. And
K-hole.
yeah. Such a flattering nickname that would be. And then he goes to battle against Carmine Falcone, who's played by Tom Wilkinson, and Cillian Murphy, who plays Jonathan Crane / the Scarecrow, who uses hallucinogenics to terrify his enemies.
I like how they tied the blue flower at the beginning with the
fear.
Yeah, the fear gas, fear toxin.
It's interesting. I mean, almost everybody I named off just now, except for maybe Morgan Freeman and Katie Holmes, are all either British or Irish or something.
That's what I was thinking. This is such a British cast.
Yeah.
And it's
British.
Like, Gary Oldman?
Yeah, Gary Oldman. Yeah.
British.
We were watching a scene, and one of those scenes where it's like, I turned to my wife, I was like, literally everybody in this scene is British.
Playing an American.
There's not one American in this scene. It's crazy. And directed by Christopher Nolan, who's British. So
not anymore. Not with these tariffs.
Yeah.
There you go.
American actors are coming back.
You broke it. You bought it, my friend.
So Trav, we'll start with you.
Fuck off.
So when you went to see this movie, what were your expectations of it, and did it meet or exceed those expectations?
I did not have any expectations for it, but it did exceed expectations. But I was still just ready for Fantastic Four once this ended, because I didn't really like the score, the Hans Zimmer score. Like, I thought they were going to go back. To me, the Danny Elfman score is as iconic with Batman as John Williams' score is with Superman.
Agree.
Yeah.
I don't think you should move off of that. Like, even all the Hans Zimmer score, like, I get it. It goes with the film. But to me, Batman didn't have... If you can't hum it while you're like outside flying, pretending you have a cape, then it doesn't quite hit for me.
Can I get a quick hum?
That's it.
Well, and
a lot of that.
Yeah.
I was in Hans Zimmer. But the fight scenes were way too quick. You couldn't hardly see anything. But so those were my only quibbles with it. The rest of it was great. I loved, I always love an origin story, and this one was obviously done really well. It was taken from the origin of Batman, but also a lot from Batman Year One, that from Frank Miller, and some other, Jesus. The origin of Ra's al Ghul. I loved that Liam Neeson was Ra's al Ghul.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you're going to fucking kill him right at the beginning? Like, that can't be it. He's got the little the special goatee. I was like, that's got to be Ra's al Ghul. And then when they finally did, I was like, thank fucking Christ. I would have been very upset at
Theatricality and deception.
Well, normally when I'm in a comic book film, I'm just watching. I'm just like, don't piss me off. Don't piss me. You better not do that. Fucking, why is that guy doing that shit? Like, you don't do that in the fucking comics. What is the artistic license? Letting film people do comic book stuff and they think it's stupid and they're like, yeah, we're just going to change it. I fucking hate it.
See, also Schumacher, Joel.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. His movies were pretty comic booky.
Yeah, they were pretty
detrimental
for like the 50s Batman. But the great thing about Batman is there's a Batman for all seasons, much like the comic book Superman for all seasons. But you can put Batman in any kind of story that you want. If you want grim and dark, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you're wanting kitschy Batusi, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Slapstick humor, you want Boy Wonder in his little fucking leotard, like hopping around the screen. If you want Ace and Gary, you can do that.
Yeah.
They will accommodate you.
Yeah.
But I loved how all the villains were done in this. Cillian Murphy did great as Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow. Mm-hmm. Ra's al Ghul, amazing. Mm-hmm. I was very upset Ken Watanabe got taken out so quick, but this was a lovely film for me. I would give it 8 out of 10, I think.
Nice.
Nice.
So, Sean, same questions. Like, what were your expectations and what did it do?
And I know I do this every time, but I was 14 when this came out. So I very much was in the age of everything was a joke. Like, I never took anything seriously. Like, any movie I watched, I wanted to make fun of and find like an angle to make fun of it.
I'm still in that phase.
I had a very specific memory of walking out of the theater of this movie and looking at my friends and being like, I can't make fun of that. That was so good. Like, I expected this to be some corny, dumb, superhero movie, because we were in that era where it was like, other than the Spider-Man trilogy, like the superhero movies were just kind of a thing that was happening. We were very pre-Marvel.
Yeah.
So like you said, we had Fantastic Four coming out in the same year. compare and contrast those two, that's kind of where we were. This one hit at such like a different tone. I loved this movie. I mean, it was such a cool zig when everything else was zagging. And I think going back and watching it now and kind of having that tone set of where I think of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, this one was way more chipper. Like there were a lot more like Batman-y tropes. Like it had a lot of the same like elements of some of the previous Batman movies where you do get some of like the corniness and there's a lot of tools and it's a lot of gimmicks and a lot of gadgets. Doesn't follow as much of like the storyline of the character. It very much is like Batman. What is Batman doing? What's Batman? And it's very like directional that way. And so you don't get a lot of depth of character and you don't get a lot of like the nuance that you get into with the second movie, because the second movie gets dark. This one, as dark as it is, there's still like quite a bit of just like upbeat stuff.
I write that in my notes for The Dark Knight that compared to The Dark Knight, this movie's downright jolly.
Yes, it is. Like this movie has a lot of like kooky Batman stuff and like him doing some Batman like chicanery, just getting around fighting bad guys and
He's
using his tools
from
and
rooftops.
yeah, and like doing it. Going back and watching all these trilogies, we keep looking about like what is the impact? What's like where has this sort of like established itself? There's so many jokes that come out of like this trilogy. And like the Batman voice, and Christian swear to me. It really comes out of the second movie. This one, you kind of just get a lot of like the Christian Bale, like Batman disappearing off the rooftop and just like turning around. Gordon's like, oh, where'd he go?
Yeah.
You know,
So that's what that feels like.
I don't know. I love this movie. I thought it was fun. I think it ages really well. And in retrospect, historically, for being as dark of a turn as this was in the timeline of movies, this was like the bright spot before it got real dark.
Yeah.
And I don't think I realized that at the time, but yeah, it was good. It was neat.
It was the fellowship of the trilogy.
Yeah, it was the fellowship.
Yeah,
for sure.
I will say, like, I hated the Batman voice. As soon as I heard it, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
And it's not as
took
bad
out of it.
going back as much as it got lampooned. It got lampooned so hard that I expected to go back and see. It's a Batman.
Yeah, I didn't think
it gets worse in the trilogy.
I was going to say
it does. It does.
But the one thing I skipped, the fucking Batmobile in this, the Tumbler.
The Tumbler's awesome.
Like it got so much play on the news and everything when they finally released a picture. Like everybody's like, "Well, that's not the Batmobile," but that was fucking dope. Once they showed it, just like sound effects are everything. Once you hear it, like turning corners and you hear I was like, oh my God.
Well, and that's,
you can hear the weight of it. I was like, that's excellent.
Christopher Nolan knocked this out of the park. I mean, like you said, he was coming off of Memento.
Yeah.
That's a huge leap in scope and budget.
And Insomnia too. I mean, it was like, to me, Insomnia is a movie I watched from him after Memento, where it's like, man, he can handle a big movie with like big star like Al Pacino and Robin Williams, all these big movie people that remember Hilary Swank. Like he moved up a level. And so this was like another level up.
Right.
You know,
this put him like in the mainstream, like director.
Yeah.
Actually, and I will say this, it made me think Memento would have been an excellent Batman villain. Like to have a guy that couldn't
remember anything,
do a heist or something, or hold somebody hostage, and then he couldn't tell you himself, and he had all the weird clues and
just says I robbed a bank on my
yeah
exactly. Bruce Wayne is Batman or something like what? That's stupid. I'll cover that up.
So would you start with his big evil plan at the beginning of the movie and then gradually work backwards to him hatching the plan?
And then Batman has to figure it out, has to go backwards and see where he's been.
Yeah.
To like piece together his like the memories that the guy no longer has.
So who would play that character? Who was your dream cast?
Guy Pearce. I was like, he's already in the Nolan verse. Yeah. Just say that like, hey, that was his origin story. He kills Teddy at the end, and then he goes off on his own, like Next Stop Gotham.
But he's also the Mandarin.
Oh, well, no, he in the DC universe. Though. Yeah, I mean, you're all good.
Yeah.
He's not the fucking Mandarin.
I was trying to get a rise out of you there. It took a minute. So.
No, that's Ben Kingsley.
He's not the fucking Mandarin either. And neither is the fucking, what's the latest, with Simu Liu? What was the,
Ten Rings?
Shang-Chi.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That villain also not the Mandarin. They're just.
I was trying to poke the bear. It took a minute, but
Fair poke.
I'm just obsessed. Marvel's been sucking lately.
It's like either I bring up that or the Poodles and Ang Lee's Hulk, one or the other.
Oh yeah,
the poodle dogs.
Yeah,
but I would say, I mean, to that note, this is the trilogy that like was like the death knell of DC. After this, everything's downhill.
Yeah.
And this movie stood apart like so much away from the rest of the connected DC universe that I think because this was so established in its own identity, that when Marvel started doing its own extended universe stuff, DC had to really play catch up, and they had to establish something outside of the, this Batman.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't connect back.
We had to build a world.
And sadly, this like influenced the next Superman movies, Man of Steel, and like in a bad way.
In a very bad way.
I mean, I rewatched Man of Steel somewhat recently, and I'm like, this is pretty good. Like it's an interesting concept and everything like that. It's just the director does not know that Superman is primary colors. Yeah. Batman is, dark blues or, blacks and grays and all that tone. Even the animated series back in the day was drawn on black paper for Batman and white paper for Superman, because bright, they're just two sides of the same coin.
Yin and yang. Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, when you talk about like the colors, it's like, to me, it's emotionally too. It's like Superman is primary colors emotionally too, and Batman is all monochrome shades of gray.
Yeah, Gotham is somehow always in bad weather.
Yeah, it's always nighttime, cold. There's like, well, in the other one,
there's always a siren going off in the distance. Yeah, whereas Metropolis is always sunny, and it's
I agree. So I'm curious to see what James Gunn does.
I have high hopes. I think
I'm kind of here for it.
I'm here for it. It needs a good reboot, and I think it also needs to establish itself outside of everything else.
The previous.
They're building from scratch again, and I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. So, Tay, what were your thoughts?
I am the exact opposite. I did not
fucking hated this movie.
Did not want to go see this movie, and I didn't really like it the first time I saw it. Really? It was also because like 2005. So I would have been just coming out of college, and I kind of blame the lack of the internet, because I kind of like you, I didn't know shit about it. Yeah. Like I think I was just, Travis was like, oh, he was in Fantastic Four mode, and like so I was just like, oh, you're doing a Batman, okay. But like I saw, from what I'm trying to remember, 20 years ago, I saw no trailers. From what I didn't see a trailer. Nope. And like, it wasn't like in your face like everything is now, where it's just like, I know every movie for the most part coming out because it's just an ad on TV or a radio, whatever. Like, I don't remember seeing a lot about this. So it kind of, I didn't see it in theaters. Yeah. I think it just kind of came a blip, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, new Batman. And I don't even think anybody was really, I mean, you may have been talking about it, but
I don't think I was that excited.
And I don't think anybody was.
No, and we got burned out on Batman.
And I think that's what
rightfully
happened.
so.
Yeah. And so then I think I saw it reluctantly, renting it or whatever, maybe even Netflix, got the DVD and mailed it in. But it was like, I watched it and I was like, wow, okay. I remember being like, I waited for this. I was like, all right, I thought it was cool. Like you said, an origin story, but like, it really wasn't for me. Like I was just like, no, it was, I didn't think much of it. I didn't hate it, but I was like, this is not my Batman. Yeah. What I remember.
Yeah.
Hashtag not your Batman.
Exactly.
Oh, actually, I remember you and I talking about it. It's so fucking dark. It's one of those.
Maybe that was
in the age of like
visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was Scarecrow and Batman talking. Yeah. Like an apartment, and you couldn't tell what the fuck was happening.
Yeah,
in that era,
I couldn't remember. I was just like, "What the fuck?" And I think I was more excited that it was a Christopher Nolan. Honestly, 20 years ago, I do a lot of this, so it's like. But I remember being like, "Meh," didn't really care. No, I hated it, but I didn't really care. But then I remember seeing Dark Knight.
Oh yeah,
in theaters, and being like, Jesus fucking Christ. We'll get to that later. I was like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
So much brighter, too.
And I was like, man.
They took that.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, yeah, it was too dark.
But I was like, fuck it. I should probably go back and watch it. I remember going back and watching it and being like, okay, you know what? I kind of get it now. I get what he was trying to do. It was cool. And now rewatching it again, like just yesterday, I was like, oh, this movie fucking slaps. And it was like, it's just, I guess it just took me a while to understand what they were doing. I was like, oh, this is fucking really good.
You had the same reaction I did to rewatching it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I was like, man, and I don't know if it just took me to watch those other ones, but in these other trilogies, usually the first one, you're just like, oh, this is going to fucking rock.
Yeah.
But it took me the second one to go back and be like, oh, I get what he was doing. It was like he was starting it from he was telling it was a story. And like Sean said, I was like, I remember like rewatching this, and I remember watching it like 20 years ago. The very first Batman costume, I was like, he just put a ski mask on. I was like, what? I was like, what is happening? I was like, this is not my Batman.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is goddamn ridiculous.
Which echoes Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with Toby.
Yeah.
He puts on a ski mask.
I was like, this is goddamn ridiculous. But then watching it, I'm like, all right, that was kind of like, to me, it became kind of funny. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And then how it grew, and like they put the little comm piece in the ear. It's like how, like I was like, oh, he's
the helmet
like,
that shattered.
Yeah, the shattered. It's like, I got to earn 10,000 more. It was just cool to be like, oh, okay, this was the jumping off point. I just really thought it was like, oh, it's a new Batman. They're just going to add onto the series. But I was like, oh, he's doing something with this.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to really process that. Not that I hated it, but it just wasn't my thing when I first saw it. But now, I mean, I was like watching, I was like, yep, everything in this is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it when they explain stuff. I wish that they had done, because I think both with like Punisher and Batman, I know I've said it on this podcast before, but everybody's always like, okay, Batman, why do you have that little yellow bullshit right there in the middle? And he used to do it, and because that was where he was most heavily armored. And when you're trying to shoot at him, it draws the eye. And if it draws the eye, then people are more likely to shoot him like point blank, like in the chest, where he's most heavily armored. But I just want somebody to mention it just once. Punisher, Batman, whatever. Like, why do you have this bullshit on your chest? We're like, well, people see it and they shoot right at it, and that's where I've got all my armor.
Yeah.
So where did this fit with the timeline for when Travis started corrupting you with Lord of the Rings?
It's right after.
Yeah, right after. Yeah. And
yeah, because you got corrupted with
Two Towers,
extended extended Fellowship.
Oh, Fellowship, yeah.
And then you and I went and saw
Two Towers in theaters.
Yeah. And then we went and saw The Midnight Show.
Well, and I think that was it, because I remember you were just like, hey, a Fantastic Four. I remember seeing that in theaters with you, but I just don't remember again, I could be crazy. I don't remember any hype around this film. Yeah. I was like, and I could be just, I just don't. I remember when you said it, like, I remember seeing on the news, here's the new Batmobile, and then they wheeled it out like on Good Morning America.
Tonight or something.
Yeah, and I was like, they pulled it. I was like, all right, that's kind of cool. And I was like, but yeah, I just don't remember being it, and that might have been its own fault. I'm like, I don't know if that's good or bad, because nowadays you feel like you've watched the movie before it even comes out. Like I've seen 7 minutes of basically Superman now.
That's true.
Yeah, and so it's like, I don't know if that's good or bad, but anyway, long story short, I would even say this is an 8.
Yeah.
It was like,
they got an uphill battle with Superman, so they got to like try and get asses in season. Like, hey guys, look, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Please
it's
come back.
fun. It's bright.
Yeah.
We're not going to make the same mistakes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you were
8.
You were 8. I'm going to give this a 9.5.
Ooh.
I'm going to go up a notch. I was more impressed with this coming back. I would say the me in 2005 would have said 8. And back then I came away from, again, our mutual friend Kyle. I remember him, like, we were roommates. He came in the room and he was like, you got to go see this Batman. He went and saw it a second time with me. So Kyle Kabrick, if you're out there, yeah, the shout outs for you.
He's not watching.
Yeah. He's out there somewhere. He was like, you got to come watch this movie. So he watched it a second time with me, and I was really impressed with it. I was like, this is finally a Batman movie that's Batman centric.
Yeah.
It's like all the 80s and 90s Batman movies were like,
it's focused on the rogues gallery.
Yeah.
It's focused on the shenanigans.
And I mean, it's like, and you can understand from a business perspective, like, oh, we got Jack Nicholson, so this has to be a Jack Nicholson movie, or we got Michelle Pfeiffer or
Uma Thurman,
Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey. It's like,
at the time, man, Jim Carrey.
We're spending $20 million on this guy. Let's make him the focus. And then it's also there's Batman.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Schwartz. Oh God!
Did you hear about how much Tommy Lee Jones hated Jim Carrey?
Oh yeah.
Did you hear what he said to Jim Carrey? He was like, I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
I hate you.
And it's like you can hear like Tommy Lee Jones's voice. I can't do it. Like, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. Just he said he was shaking with anger. I remember hearing that back in the day, that how much tension there was on the set of Batman Forever between Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, that was.
And then Tommy Lee Jones and Joel Schumacher, and Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey. That there was a lot of bad vibes going around that movie.
Triangle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, did they talk about in the Val documentary about
a little
Batman
bit? Yeah.
Forever? Okay, I never watched it.
You should. It's good.
You guys all told me to watch it. And I was like,
It's good. Yeah. You'll see.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I always, because again, you always hear the stuff about people, like that Val Kilmer's difficult and he's a dickhead behind the scenes, but then you see exactly, you see him and it's like you see him in a different light where it's like he's just kind of like trying to stand his ground against these, egomaniac directors that, he's trying to like, he's in a Batman movie and he's trying to like obviously push for Batman to be more central to the character, or central to the movie. And it's like, he's right, so it's like you kind of see.
He also wants to turn his neck.
Yeah. He wants to be more comfortable and to be able to act more, rather than being saddled in a rubber suit that doesn't move.
Yeah.
So he's frustrated. And it's like, you watch that documentary, it's like, I get that.
Yeah.
So you get a better understanding of him.
The saddest part is when he meets his heroes and he's like, oh no.
Oh yeah. He meets Marlon Brando.
Iowa Dr. Zhivago.
And that's a whole other podcast. But yeah, that was a very good documentary.
I forgot to add in that Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne. He's not my favorite Batman, but yeah, you're right. They did a great job focusing on him.
Yeah.
Well, and it can be said that all the Batman actors, some are good Bruce Waynes and some are good Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you think this one is more Bruce Wayne than Batman?
He does the best Bruce Wayne. Michael Keaton, to me, is the best Batman that I've seen. By
a wide margin, I think. He's a great Batman.
He is a good Batman.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, you get that kind of, he leans into that like Playboy aspect of like, it's fine. I own the building here or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, that rich, arrogant Playboy.
Yeah.
I just bought the hotel.
Yeah. So yeah.
Change the policy.
He plays that well.
Yeah.
So, for me, I did not think much of this going in, but I was very impressed with it, like coming out of it. So I would say that back then I would say this is an 8. It's finally a Batman centric movie. This is what, I've always kind of wanted from the franchise. I like it even better. I think but also it benefits from the 2 movies that come after it. They make it even better. They work better as a whole. Again, it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like Two Towers, Return of the King. They make Fellowship even better, especially now that you've seen them, them, and you go back and watch Fellowship. They all work even better. They tie together better.
Oh.
So,
well, and I think that this movie benefited from being an early adopter of an origin movie. Because like origin story movies got real sick real fast.
Yeah.
So like we had Spider-Man and everyone was like, okay, yeah, it was good. We had Batman and we were like, okay, yeah, it was good. And then we got all of the other origin like all the Marvel origin movies.
Yeah. Star Trek worked pretty well. The J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
It was a good, like kind of low calorie Star Trek to kind of ease people into it.
But I think if this same movie came out 2 years later, we would have been over it.
Yeah.
It would have flopped.
Yeah.
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 It was fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there is a weak point to this movie, in my opinion, it is Katie Holmes.
K-hole.
Well, guess what?
Yeah, playing Rachel Dawes.
Taken care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell there's a reason why they recast that character in the second movie.
What? Oh, no, she didn't want to come back, I thought.
That's what you're reading. But
yeah.
No. I guarantee you, Christopher Nolan was watching those dailies thinking, ooh.
He's like,
I thought she was getting Tom Cruise around that time.
Again, that's the story that's put out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, they're watching those dailies thinking, no. It's like, and we're watching again. My wife and I are watching this. And she was like, "Ugh, it's like she is terrible. She is so flat." And it's like watching Godfather 3 with Sofia Coppola,
Casey,
and she's doing there's a real Dawson's Creek vibe. She's doing these scenes like in Sofia Coppola's doing these scenes in Godfather 3 with like Al Pacino and Diane Keaton and Andy Garcia, all these Oscar-winning people. It really emphasizes how bad of an actor she is. For Katie Holmes, it's like, I mean, how many Oscar winners are in this movie? It's like you got Christian Bale, Michael Caine has won 2 Oscars, Morgan Freeman,
Cillian Murphy, Tom Wilkinson's won an Oscar. I mean, Liam Neeson, everybody in this movie is like a top-notch actor. And then you got Dawson's Creek over here, very flat.
Yeah.
Out of her element. It's like which one doesn't belong?
You're out of your element, Dawson.
Yes.
What was her name? And was she Pacey or wait, who's?
I don't remember. They were all Pacey
Pacey and I remember
Pacey was Josh.
Well, I remember Pacey from Jan and Silent Bob's Right Back.
And there's one kid from Varsity Blues. Paula Cole's involved somehow. I don't remember the specifics.
Give me one reason to stay here. Let's skip.
That's Tracy Chapman. Anyway,
you got Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, in a brief cameo.
Ooh.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not really much of a cameo if you're an unknown actor at that point.
Well, I guess it's a retroactive cameo. Yeah. And he's playing a very much
once again British.
Yeah, there you go.
Even the kids are British.
Once again, British.
I'd say
British.
I'd say this is a 9.5 for me. I enjoyed it a lot. It's gained since it came out. So, and maybe again, that's looking back on the trilogy as a whole. This is it, but also looking back on it from like the Batman material that's come out since then. And
I'll give it,
with the DC, like, oh, Martha, we gotta save Martha.
Why'd you say that?
Why'd you say that name?
This is looking that much better now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will give it that.
Release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, release the Kraken. But yeah, it's been another episode of Cinemavino. We're gonna do Dark Knight next, and then from there, Dark Knight Rises. Yep, 2 notes only. But yeah, great movies. Only Drunker. We got Trav.
Yo.
We got Sean.
Yo.
We got Tay.
Yo.
I'm Todd. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.